Visión comunal, en contacto con las comunidades.
Venezuela in the news. News from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Headlines. National Electoral Council announced the ending of the first stage of the route to request a recall referendum. In Venezuela, more than half the country approves the local supply and production committees. Uruguay will discuss the transfer of Mercosur's presidency to Caracas. President of the National Electoral Council, Vzla, informed that the opposition representation has still not complied with the requirements to activate a recall referendum at the end of the first stage, which consists on determining the political actor that requests a consultation. The Venezuelan opposition aims to reduce the president's constitutional period, which is endorsed in the country's constitution, but intend to activate the referendum without fulfilling the requirements set out by law. The law on the referendum approved by the government and the opposition in Venezuela dates back to 2007. With this law, 12 municipal recall elections have been applied. Lucena affirmed that in the second stage, the opposition must gather nearly 4 million signatures, corresponding to 20% of the permanent electoral registry. This amount has still not been reached. The approval of the local supply and production committees, also known by their acronym as the CLAPs, increased from 47 to 53%, according to the most recent poll held by Interlaces agency. The survey was based on 1,580 interviews in homes all over the country, carried out between June 6 and July 16. The CLAPs are mass organizations promoted by the Venezuelan government as part of the economical fight to normalize the distribution of basic goods. Interlaces informed that 36% of the respondents stated that they had received the basic goods in their homes. In the beginning of June, only 21% of the respondents indicated that they were receiving the benefit. The Venezuelan government urged the Democratic Unity Roundtable to respect the rule of law and to join into the constructive dialogue for peace without further delay or conditions. Minister of Foreign Affairs Delcy Rodriguez affirmed that the Commission demanded the MUD parties to respect the rule of law in Venezuela and the repeated convocations to a constructive dialogue. The Venezuelan opposition issued a communiqué demanding to the National Electoral Council the start of a new stage in their route to activate a recall referendum. However, these parties omit that they must comply with a series of requirements for this objective.
Venezuela in the news.
Venezuelan Foreign Minister Delcy Rodriguez held a meeting in Caracas with Vice President of the European Parliament's Foreign Affairs Commission, Javier Couso. During the meeting, Couso expressed his impressions about the reality divulged through the media in Spain, which he described as completely different. In his visit to Caracas, Couso said that it was a shame that the Venezuelan opposition is not willing to dialogue with the government, for which he stated that the international community should remind the opposition their duty to dialogue. Rodriguez thanks the member of the European Parliament on behalf of the Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro for his expressions of solidarity and support. Uruguayan Minister of Foreign Affairs, Rodolfo Novoa, will meet with the members of his country's parliament to address the different possible scenarios that may be given July 30th during the meeting of the Common Market Council of the Mercosur. This Saturday in Montevideo, the council will discuss about the transfer of the bloc's presidency to Caracas. Brazil and Paraguay denied the possibility of Venezuela assuming the presidency. Currently, Uruguay holds the chair of the Southern Common Market, and according to the rotation order, it is Venezuelans' turn to take over the presidency for the next 6 months.
News from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Headline: National Electoral Council announced the ending of the first stage of the route to request a recall referendum. In Venezuela, more than half the country approves the local supply and production committees. Uruguay will discuss the transfer of Mercosur's presidency to Caracas.
Venezuela in the news. News from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Visión comunal, en contacto con las comunidades.